So it's 2019, and the lords above us have decided to bless us with more Wheel of Time. New, previously unseen chapters from Memory of Light are being released within Unfettered 3. If you do not know what Unfettered is, and you didn't watch my last video where I did a book haul and talked about it, essentially it's a collection of short stories or chapters that were cut from famous works of fantasy. And this actually hasn't been released yet. One of my patrons let me know that there were Barnes & Nobles that were putting this on their shelves before it was supposed to be released, so I definitely went and took advantage of that. I don't know if I'm allowed to review this yet. Let's see if I get an email about it. But this will be a spoiler-free review, obviously. This book's not out. I'm not going to spoil it for people who have not read it. It's about 80 pages of new Wheel of Time material, all taking place within A Memory of Light, but it is made clear from the author's notes by Brandon Sanderson at the beginning, this is not canon. This is stuff that had to be cut, and because it was cut, the story was reworked. These events could not have actually taken place because people would have to be in two places at once. It is no longer true. It's a what if, and luckily due to Wheel of Time mythology, what ifs fit perfectly well within the world, because, you know, there's multiple worlds. That being said, though I'm not going to spoil the events of these cut chapters, I will be talking about A Memory of Light fully just spoiler-filled, so if you have not finished Memory of Light, please click off the video, or if you don't care about spoilers, I guess, okay, good on ya. But I'm going to be spoiling things in Memory of Light and giving my thoughts on the overall events that happen within A Fire Within the Ways, within Unfettered 3, by a lot of authors. Robert Jordan, Brandon Sanderson, Terry Brooks, Megan Lindholm, Tad Williams. I haven't read everything in here yet, but I'm going to. There's a lot of authors on here. This is an impressive amalgamation. So the basic setup of A Fire Within the Ways is that the Ways need to be taken care of before the last battle starts, because the forces of the light know that the Shadow is going to use them to dump large forces of Trollocs and Myrddraal behind their lines, something that is obviously crucial to not letting happen within a war. You don't want, you know, the enemy behind you. So Perrin, Galad, and a few other key characters we're familiar with from the Wheel of Time venture into the Ways with a small battalion of troops to destroy certain bridges to prevent the Shadow from doing this. That is the basic setup here, and it's executed fairly poorly. This is not a negative criticism of Brandon or Robert or Memory of Light as a whole, but this was clearly, just from reading it, not edited and structured as much as the final product of A Memory of Light was, which is obvious that this would take place because, you know, it was cut at some point during the process. It seems from Brandon's notes it was fairly late in the game, but still probably before the final retouches and repacings and filling out of storylines happened. So yeah, this feels rather unfinished. In fact, I would give the pacing pretty much like a D to D minus. It just feels like this, then that, then this, then done. That is the pacing of this story. It just feels like a sequence of events that they planned to have take place, and then they just wrote those events and nothing in between. There's no really much there, except for a couple kind of cool moments with the Aiel, a nice character moments here and there, but really only the grander moments, the bigger moments that affect direct plotline tie-ups or real character shifts and showing of growth is all that's fleshed out. In fact, if you're never really sure what reviewers are talking about when they're talking about the pacing of a story, I highly recommend reading this as an example of how it can be done poorly, because it's kind of like so blatant and obvious anyone can see it because it just does not fit and flow. It was clearly meant to be cut up with different like timelines and things happening in between. It wasn't meant to be read straight through. It wasn't finished. That being said, it's still Wheel of Time, so there's wonderful character work. There's things that really make sense, though feel rushed in terms of evolution and growth. There's some additional things in terms of Padan Fain lore, which I think a lot of fans are craving and would like to see, as well as what really might happen with the Ways. Those questions are not necessarily answered, but addressed and somewhat answered. It ties up a lot of what ifs and maybes and does have implications for Memory of Light in terms of larger ideas that were hinted at here that the actual book didn't have time to. So while the pacing suffers immensely, the character work is still nice and it kind of feels haggard, but it's still there and it makes sense. The world building, the atmosphere, and the fighting is not as thorough and intense as a lot of Wheel of Time fighting, because again, I don't feel like it's fully written, so it feels a little faster, but it's still very satisfying. The atmosphere of the ways will forever be creepy and haunting in a very deep, disturbing way, so if you like that, there it is. And I've always pictured the ways as like one of the dungeon crawls from Diablo 2, where like there's the bubble of light around you and then just blackness. That's how it felt to me, and that's still fully realized within this short story as well, or series of chapters as well. I wouldn't recommend this to all Wheel of Time fans even. I'd recommend this to kind of Wheel of Time nuts like myself, people who are really obsessed, they want all the answers, they want to know everything. Those are the people I'd recommend this to, because that is why I don't regret buying this book, even though it was fairly expensive, because I need to know. I love Wheel of Time with such a burning passion and such depth that I want all the answers I can possibly get. I want everything from Brandon and Robert, and they're willing and want to give me as a reader. I don't ever want to go through like Robert Jordan's notes himself. That would be a violation of the man's privacy. I just want what they're willing to give us, and if this is something they're willing to give, I'm willing to take. But in terms of, does this change A Memory of Light drastically? Does it completely reshape how I view anything in Wheel of Time? No. It's a nice little addition. It's not fully finished, but it's cool to see what could have been, what almost was, and reading the opening author's notes and closing notes from Brandon himself was really nice, because it kind of gave an insight into what it probably felt like putting together A Memory of Light. You know, it seems like they had to make a lot of tough choices, and cutting things like this was one of them. It does make me really wish I could see what this sequence would have turned into if it did go through the full process of being within A Memory of Light, how it would have been scattered about. It completely makes sense, though, that it was cut. It takes too many characters out of too many situations that they need to be in. And I'm feeling Wheel of Time nerds should pick it up and read it, and they'll love it. That's what I'm giving it out of 10. And because only hardcore Wheel of Time nerds are still here right now, let's talk about JordanCon. So I am going to be at JordanCon, and I will be speaking on 3 panels. Saturday at 10 a.m., I will be on a panel with other Wheel of Time loving YouTubers and podcasters of the type, just diving in the series, engaging with you from the fans, and I essentially just having a good time. It'll be an hour long as far as I'm aware, and I really can't wait for it. At 11:30 Saturday, I will be on the panel talking about the Amazon TV show, what they should cut, what they should absolutely not cut, and just having a good time there. I'm not sure who my other panelists are yet. I look forward to getting the list, but I'm really looking forward to that panel. I know a lot of you guys are too, so that will be interesting to say the least. And related to this, at 2:30 p.m. on Saturday, I will be talking about A Memory of Light Unfettered, because that's why I kind of need to buy this super early, and I recommend if you're going to be there and be at that panel, do pick this up, because we will be talking about the new chapters and going over those events in depth on another panel, which I really look forward to being a part of as well. And 11:30 a.m. Sunday, I'll be in a panel talking about when fantasy is epic, and we'll go ahead and discuss and talk about the resurgence of epic fantasy and the trends of the genre in general. All around, this seems like it'll be great. I've never been on panels at a con before. No one's ever cared about what I have to say until I got an audience. I guess that's how that works. But I cannot wait to meet a bunch of you all at JordanCon. It really will be a blast, and let me know in the comments down below if you'll be there. I'll try and make sure to meet everybody, and I can't wait. This is going to be wonderful, and thank you so much for the team over at JordanCon for inviting me. Thank you so much, guys. Like and subscribe if you've not already. Thank you for 20K subscribers. Holy crap. I love all of you so much. Hit the Patreon, all that fun stuff. Talk to you again soon. Peace. Talk to you again soon. Not soon. Peace.